Now, that's what's currently running right now on the system, in the routines, where you've got the routines themselves. You can do some searching on here. So if I wanted to do something, about listing, whatever, I could, do some searching. Which routine do I want to edit? And then I can edit it and do things. The one thing that is good to know about routines is that whenever you're setting up routines, you can base a routine off of the date itself, the physical date that's being filled in. In this case, the listing date gets filled in. What do I want to do when that listing date gets filled in? Well, at this point, I just want to do on the listing date. This is just a test one. I want to send a message. I want to update a field. I want to run a webhook. And these are some actions that are on there. But basically, you set up the calculations for things that this activity, how is this activity going to be calculated based off of that listing date. Now, we have two other possibilities. We had a field called start date. So if I start the routine, or if I start the workflow, I want my calculation to be done then, not on the date that is being filled in, but just on the date that it actually starts. So whenever you come into the plus field here, you can say, let's just say one day after the listing date, whatever I typed in the listing date, this activity could do something. But if I wanted to do this one day after it started, I changed this from listing date to start date. Now, whenever this routine happens, say it happens today, tomorrow, even though my listing date may have been filled in from a week ago, it may have been, it's going to be in 2 weeks from now, whatever. But this part of the routine, this one piece, needs to start one day after I start the routine. So that gives you that capability of saying, not on the date that it's assigned, but on the date that the routine starts, I want to do this. And then I can also specify work period time. So if this is something like, add to the call list, and I make my calls at 2 p.m., then this activity would be a 2 p.m. call time. Previously, we only had one field that you could do, at 4 o'clock, always send my emails. Well, that doesn't do us any good. So you can do that. Now, the other option here is, instead of being on the date field itself or on the start of the work, the routine, you can also say on a specific month day. And in this case, I might say, well, on January 2nd, maybe this is, a part of a closing process or something. On January 2nd, I want to send out my HUD-1s for tax purposes to everybody that bought. So you can specify an exact month, day that you want something to happen. It doesn't matter what year. So if I close this year, it's going to find the next available January 2nd, which would be next year at this point, to do its process.